Good morning, this is Randy. I have a theory, another theory. So, dating sites. Again, a lot of people are saying that narcissists gravitate toward dating sites. The dating sites are full of narcissists, right? And so, my theory is that all the guys on the dating sites, and there's seems to be a lot more men on the dating sites than there are women, but I'm not really sure about that. That they are not primarily narcissists, but they are primarily what's called TFLers, which is true forced loneliness. And I'm going to read a short blog from the Decline of America blogspot. This was dated in September 2009, so it is already 7 years old. This is entitled The Danger of the True Forced Loneliness Movement. When madman George Sidoni went on a murderous rampage at a fitness center, many Americans were shocked at the motive. Sidoni was a sexually frustrated, socially inept man whose pent-up anger blew over in the form of shooting innocent women. The concerning thing about Sidoni is that he is not alone. There is a movement called True Forced Loneliness, TFL, making the rounds on YouTube. The proponents of TFL claim that they are being forced to be lonely because of society's judgmental culture of high expectations in courtship. This in turn causes men to be left without mates. There are many problems with this theory, but first, any look at a TFL proponent will yield instantaneous evidence as to why they are alone in the first place. Let's take Dwayne Holloway, the verbose spokesperson of TFL, on YouTube. Dwayne is an articulate yet morbidly obese and off-kilter man who is at a loss as to why women don't give him the time of day. When people point out the superficial reasons he falls short in the dating game, Dwayne is angrily adamant that his appearance, quote, should not matter in his search for a mate. Dwayne and the other TFL followers tend to exhibit fundamental misunderstandings or dismissals of human nature. But all that aside, the undercurrent of TFL is that of violence. A la George Sidoni is the natural consequence of rejecting men who feel they should not be rejected. Therein lies the dangerous powder keg of TFL. If you pursue the TFL commentaries on the George Sidoni murders, the recurring theme is that they understand why he did it. Even though they pepper their commentary with how they do not condone the murders, the sentiment is barely under the surface. Moreover, I recently examined the TFL website and was shocked to discover a photo of the murdered Asia McGowan scrolling across the screen. McGowan was shot by a mentally disturbed YouTube personality, Anthony Powell, who grew distressed when McGowan did not reciprocate his feelings for her. Powell then shot himself. It was later discovered that Powell suffered from mental illness for many years. The TFL crowd reveres Powell as a patron saint, and they feature a video of McGowan in a thinly disguised warning masquerading as a memorial to her. Folks, these guys are dangerous. Expect to hear about this TFL in the news, and remember, you heard it here first. So this is 7 years ago, and the only reason I even heard about TFL was through MGTOW, because MGTOW was being accused basically of having a lot of TFLer members. And when you do listen to MGTOW, there seems to be a couple of different camps. There seems to be some calm, intellectual men who have just decided to focus on themselves and basically give up with any kind of romantic or true relationships. And I seem to believe that, all women are incapable of love, and I think that many of them obviously have probably been with female narcissists. And then there seems to be another group of guys that are extremely belligerent and angry, and all they do is spout out the rhetoric of MGTOW, which you can predict their answers because they have an answer for everything, and all of them use the same answers and the same responses for every kind of question that might be posed to them that opposes their views or contradicts them. So what I am trying to say here is that most of the men on the dating sites are actually TFLers. They're men who are forced into loneliness, but rather than attribute that to themselves, either their physical appearance, their social ineptness, their low economic status, or combination of all of those, rather than turn it and look at themselves and how they can actually maybe change or improve, they instead blame all women for rejecting them. And then other men jump on that bandwagon because every man, no matter how good looking he is, how much money he has, almost every man, I would say, if not all of them, have been rejected. And then even the kind of, decent ones, or ones who have things going for them, can totally understand. They're very empathetic toward TFLers. So they very much protect and guard and support the TFLers in their violence and in their attitude toward women, because yes, they had once been rejected, or twice or several times been rejected themselves, so they seem to empathize with TFLers, which makes things actually worse for women. It makes it so that women can't even get across the idea that there are all of these men out there that are just actually very inept, and whenever we would reject a man, everyone, especially other men who we have not even rejected, come to the rescue of the group of TFLers who is actually dangerous and violent, or at least have the potential to be. And I just wanted to add that I've also read a theory that men have actually supported and agree that when men are single and they can't find a mate and they cannot express their sexuality with another person, with a live female versus like a robot, or masturbating, that eventually they become very aggressive and violent. So this whole TFL thing does not bode well for society. I don't see that there's anything that can really be done about it except the TFLer themselves to actually work on themselves. I do not think the answer is that women need to change and then somehow just give all these TFLers a break and kind of force yourself to either be nice to them or date them. That would be going against our own selves and our own self-interests. And for what purpose? Just to keep some random guy from becoming violent? It doesn't make sense. So that's what a TFLer is, if any of you did not know. And as this guy suggested, he thought we would hear much more about it in the past 7 years, and I truly, really have not heard much about it. But I do think that this is what's going on. And these are a lot of the kind of guys that are on the dating sites today. Thanks for listening.